Okay, so today we're going to talk about something pretty important, the psychology behind porn. And look, this isn't about passing judgment at all. It's really about getting under the hood, understanding how this habit actually forms in our brains, and most importantly, how you can get back in the driver's seat. You know how it starts, right? It's almost always with that same little thought. Maybe you're stressed out, or bored, or feeling kind of lonely, and that voice in your head goes, just a few minutes. What's the harm? It's so common, so easy to brush off, but that simple thought, that's the front door to a really powerful cycle. So, the big question is, how does that one harmless moment turn into this compulsive loop that can feel impossible to get out of? Let's actually break down how that whole thing gets started. Well, funnily enough, it usually doesn't even start with desire. It starts with an emotional trigger. You know, things we all feel, stress, loneliness, boredom. These feelings kind of create this empty space, right? And our brain's number one job is to find the fastest, easiest way to fill that space and get some relief. And this is where it gets tricky, because it happens so slowly you don't even see it. Think of it like walking through a field of tall grass. The first time, it's hard. But every single time you respond to that trigger with the same action, you're stamping down that path a little more. And before you even realize what's happening, you've created a well-worn automatic highway right in your brain. So what's the engine driving this whole thing? What's making it go? Well, it all boils down to brain chemistry. There's one single, super powerful chemical that's running the show here, and if you can understand that, you've got the key. And that chemical is dopamine. You've probably heard of it. Just think of it like your brain's own personal reward system. It's like a little trainer in your head. When you do something that it thinks is good for survival or just feels awesome, it gives you a little hit of dopamine. And that feeling trains your brain, basically saying, yes, that was amazing, let's definitely do that again. And here's how that plays out in this 4-step loop. It's pretty simple, really. First, you get the trigger, that stress, that boredom. That leads to number 2, the action. And then, boom, number 3, the reward. A massive instant rush of dopamine. But it's step 4, repeat, that seals the deal. Your brain connects that trigger directly to that amazing reward, and pretty soon it starts craving it on autopilot. This is a really important point, so listen up. A lot of the time, this loop isn't really about chasing pleasure. It's about escaping pain. It becomes this go-to coping mechanism for all that uncomfortable stuff. Stress, feeling rejected, being lonely. And this is where we run into a major problem. You're basically training your brain to expect a 5-star meal instantly with 0 effort. But real connection with another person, that's like cooking a complex, amazing dinner. It takes time, patience, emotional energy. And after a while, your brain, which is now used to fast food, starts looking at real life and thinking, man, this is kind of bland. This whole process has a name. It's called desensitization. Think of it like listening to music with the volume cranked up to 100 all the time. If you do that for long enough, normal conversation levels start to sound like a whisper. You're basically resetting your brain's pleasure volume. And the consequences are very, very real. Attraction in the real world can feel muted, your confidence can take a hit, even just focusing on your work can feel way harder. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the problem, but just knowing the problem isn't enough, right? The real goal here is finding the solution. And I've got some really good news. Your brain is incredibly adaptable. It can change. So let's shift gears and talk about how to actually break this cycle and take back control. And please, hear this. Feeling guilty about this stuff? It's totally useless. It's a dead end. It won't help you change a thing. But understanding, now that's power. Once you know how the machine works, you know which levers to pull to fix it. Your brain isn't set in stone. It can heal. It can rewire itself. So the way forward is actually a pretty straightforward 3-step plan. It's awareness, friction, and patience. Let's break down what each of those actually means. All right, step 1 is awareness. This is where you become a detective of your own mind. You have to get really curious. When does that urge hit you? Is it when you're bored late at night or right after a super stressful day? The moment you know your triggers, you can make a new plan. Instead of the old habit, you'll have a replacement ready to go, something productive. Step 2, friction. Look, habits love the path of least resistance. They love being easy, so your job is to make this habit harder. You have to deliberately make it inconvenient. Put up roadblocks, use an app blocker, leave your phone charging in the kitchen overnight. Every single little barrier you create gives that rational part of your brain a split second to jump in and say, hey, wait a minute, let's do something else. And now for the last step. And honestly, this might be the toughest one. Patience. Because look, when you cut off your brain's easy supply of dopamine, it's going to throw a tantrum. It really is. You're probably going to feel restless, maybe a bit down, or irritable. That is not a sign that you're failing. It's the exact opposite. It's a sign that your brain is healing. It's temporary. You just have to ride it out. So why go through all this trouble? What's waiting for you on the other side? Let's talk about the payoff, because it is absolutely worth it. This is the why. You're not just getting rid of something negative. You're gaining back so much positive stuff. Your focus comes back, razor sharp. Your attraction to actual, real people comes roaring back, maybe stronger than before. Your confidence gets a real boost. You just feel clearer. You're plugged back into reality. And all of this brings us to one last really crucial idea. We've talked a lot about the how to break the loop. But to really close this out, we need to go back to the why, but on a much deeper level. See, the question we usually ask isn't really the right one. It's so easy to get fixated on the action itself, but that action, it's just the symptom. It's not the real problem. This is a question that can actually set you free. Once you can honestly identify and face what you're running from, the stress, the anxiety, the loneliness, you can start to heal the actual wound. And once you do that, you'll find you don't need to escape anymore.